Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. There we go. All right. So we've taken our time in the lands of Hazlik, and we're about to meet with Hazlik and then get out of here before he does something crazy. But first, I want to talk about tabletop audio. I'm going to be using them again today. This time I chose the horror music. Those of you who are sharp-eyed and potentially later sharp-eared will notice that some of the songs are the same. That is because tabletop audio separates everything by all the themes. So as a result, items which were in fantasy, such as the Mind Flayer Chamber, will also be in horror because the Mind Flayers are, horrifying. Something that I forgot to mention last time, Tabletop Audio has a Patreon for anybody interested. There are alternate versions of just about every single piece of music, to my understanding, for people to look at and listen to. And once again, it's completely free for all Dungeon Masters who are interested in using it. And as far as anybody who wants to use it within their own shows and stuff, the specific statement by Tabletop Audio can be found in this About section. Kind of down here, which is, can I use your audio on podcasts or videos? And if it's nonprofit, absolutely with attribution. And what if they monetize? If you monetize videos, if it's only for a little extra money, then, fine with you using the 10-minute ambiances in your video. If you're making more than that, just like a bunch, what you decide is the line to draw there, then it doesn't seem unreasonable to discuss some sort of licensing fee arrangement. For me, I'm not making any money yet. Hope to, but that's not happening right now. So I'm just going to go for free. And so this will be playing in the background of our reading up on Hazlik, and specifically Hazlik himself. Make sure I can hear it. I can definitely hear that. Okay. So, it's time to talk about Hazlik. The wizard Hazlik always stood one formula away from attaining his dreams. That's hilarious. Raised among the merciless red wizards of Thay on the world of Toril, Hazlik steadily rose among the ranks of those obsessive, treacherous spellcasters. So this is a great guy, is what I'm hearing. Eager and encouraged to push past the weakness of mortality, he sought to discover hidden truths of magic and its command of reality. He obsessed over radical pursuits, such as creating the perfect mortal form and visiting dream realms within an individual's psyche. As he advanced in power, he developed rivalries with his fellow Red Wizards. Through petty contests, victories, and embarrassments, he grew increasingly arrogant, orchestrating events that left his rivals scarred by his spells or their own backfiring magic. During these feuds, there was one competitor Hazlik was unable to defeat, the Red Wizard Indreficus. Hazlik gradually came to fixate on Indreficus as his true rival. Indreficus shared Hazlik's genius and arrogance, and they spent many seasons as vicious adversaries and passionate lovers. Interesting. They drove one another to feats of magical brilliance, both revolutionary and unspeakable. For a time, the two ambitious wizards knew a wicked peace. That ended when Hazlik discovered that Indreficus had gained the attention of the land's ruling Zulkirs and planned to betray Hazlik to garner their favor. Oh no. Heartbroken and enraged, Hazlik captured Indreficus and subjected him to a nightmarish experiment that left him permanently transformed into a pain-racked, living portal. Ooh. Hazlik presented his creation to the Zulkirs, planning to impress his people's rulers and gain their patronage. Instead, the Zulkirs had revealed that Indreficus had not betrayed him. Rather, the Zulkirs had watched the pair's ascent and, wary of their potential, sought to undermine them before they became threats. Moreover, they deemed Hazlik's transformation of Andreficus an abomination. As punishment, they ruled that every rival Hazlik had defeated could exact a penance of their choosing upon him, but even as the first brand-wielding member of the mob of Hazlik's scarred rivals approached to take their revenge, Hazlik fled through the groaning portal that had been Andreficus. To his surprise, Hazlik emerged in a grim netherworld of fog and hateful visions where Andreficus's condemning voice hounded him mercilessly. Eventually, he escaped those nightmare lands into a new realm that knew nothing of magic. He had changed, becoming covered in golden tattoos evocative of symbols that meant traitor in his homeland. Undaunted, Hazlik claimed the title of Zulkir and dubbed his new world Aslan. Interesting. So all these, each and every one of those means traitor in some way, shape, or form. That's a pretty... I guess he's being punished for turning the guy into the portal. And, you know, being an all-around evil person, but it doesn't seem that... Well, the Zulkirs are like, whoa, you went overboard. It's like, it's awful. What Hazlik did was absolutely, like, horrific. But they also, like, betrayed him and made him think... I guess he didn't need to do the portal thing, but, like, the idea that he's a traitor is kind of like, like, he's not really, though. Like, he should have, like, his understanding was that he was being betrayed, so I don't know if it counts as a full betrayal. He sounds like a neat wizard you could throw into the game, though, especially if you want to play it less that he's actually a traitor and more that that's his, like, belief. Like, the tattoos are a result of him kind of casting it on himself, and it's a, like, quiet belief he has about himself that when people say, you know, you're a traitor, he screams that he's not, but, like, you know, it's one of those denials that's like, he definitely is, but it's more manufactured from his mind than it's from, like, the reality of the situation. Glad we don't have to meet him. He's probably got an Archmage stat block, now that I think about it. Let's see. Hazlik. Hazlik's powers and dominion. Hazlik is a vain, egotistical overlord, okay? Convinced he is the supreme being in his domain. Kind of is. In all honesty, that's what the whole point of these overlords kind of is. But he can be beaten, just like the rest. Oh, he is Archmage. His statistics echo those of an Archmage, but he favors using an array of magic items rather than his own spells. That's literally, I think, what every spellcaster prefers, is using magic items over their own spells. I can't imagine any spellcaster being more interested in using their daily allotments that they're stuck with over the series of magical items which could be lost by being dropped. Let's see. Glory Taker. At any given time, he permits dozens of apprentices to study at his feet. His lessons are infrequent, demanding, and filled with... Sec. Checking which of my oils are empty right now. It's 2. And filled with mocking examples. Of course. Why be a good teacher? Why actively seek to help your students when you could just make fun of them and their dreams? I guess since he's the only guy who knows magic. Ooh, that could be a fun campaign opener. Is you play in Hazland, but you don't really run it as a Domains of Dread campaign. You just run it as like a normal campaign, and you have the party be like the first people to find like a book on their own that has magic, like something from Haslan's like ancient stuff, or from something else. Like, and make it like a good book. Make it his lover's book. Uh, and think of the opportunity that the party has with this. What was his lover's name? The Book of. They. Indreficus. Have Indreficus's book be found. That would be really cool. I think that would be a really cool idea. So you have them find Indreficus's book, and then you let them know that like even mentioning Indreficus is like a burnable offense. Like there are wards that if you try to tell him any of this, he'll just like kill you on the spot, kind of thing. And so you just kind of like got to keep the book on your own, or specifically like it tells a bunch of secrets that like that Hazlik never tells people, and it's like, hey, hold on a sec, like we could actually have a real chance at learning here because of this magic. Like Indreficus's writings like a very clear guide to spellcasting, and have it say something like, this book is an attempt to teach others who have absolutely no chance of learning without some kind of teaching. Very much like a book written so that like a 10 int and below character could figure out being a wizard. His goading results in magical wonders, failed experiments, and the magical disasters that plague the land. Ooh, even better with the book, because it would be out of Indreficus's character to just make a book like that for the betterment of people. Make it that he made a bet with Hazlik that, like, I could create a book which could teach wizards of far superior metal than you, and Hazlik was like, no, and so they had this like thing where they fought each other over making a good teaching book. And maybe at some point Hazlik was like, this is stupid, and what's his name again? Indreficus was like, I agree, let's stop. But the truth is, Indreficus like got really into the project and like worked on it a ton, and just secretly like poured a whole bunch into it, and was like, yeah, I made the best book. I beat our little bet. So, Hazlik claims his apprentice's successes as his own, both to hide his lack of innovation and to further his reputation as Haslan's greatest wizard. His favorite or least disappointing apprentices include the masked wizard Yal the Skygazer, shadow-cloaked Rosello, and the daring genius Eleni. Why does he have no innovation of his own? He was a very powerful wizard, and he was able to defeat everyone, and he just couldn't beat mortality. Perfect mortal form, visiting dream realms. What made him bad as a wizard? Oh dear. Okay, we're back. What made him bad as a wizard? I mean, he even says that he's an archmage. Are you saying his students are better than him? Interesting. I guess his students are more powerful than an archmage? I don't know, that's really interesting to me. Inside the experiment, Hazlik realizes that Haslan doesn't feel as real as the world of his birth, though he's yet to discover why. He pushes his apprentices to chip away at the nature of the land, hoping to find out what lies beyond and ultimately to escape. He cares nothing for the domain or its inhabitants, as he's confident he'll be able to leave before Haslan becomes utterly uninhabitable. Why would you trust your students? Why would you trust people born in a land that doesn't feel real? Interesting. I don't know why he would do that. That must be a misunderstanding on his part. He might be... That's interesting. So Hazlik's powers and dominion are much more interesting than his background. His background is what it is, but this is giving me more insight into like who he is, and the answer is weird. It seems odd to me that you would be in a world that doesn't feel real and then assume that everybody's still real. Because, like, I've had thoughts about that, like, nobody in the world is real. And that's part of why I sometimes have, like, trust issues and things like that. But like, at the end of the day, that doesn't change. Like, if I follow that logic to its extent, like, that's then I can't trust anyone, like, because they're not real, they're not anything like that. But like, you if you truly believe that, then that's the way that it is. You kind of can't believe other people because they're not real then. Weird. Like, you'd think that it would be maybe he, like, brought the people here? Is that what happened? Also, so all of Barovia, all the Ravenloft realms don't feel real. The domains of dread, you can tell they kind of feel like ghost-like. That would... If that's true, PC should be aware of that fact, that everything feels off here. But I don't know. Maybe it's just that this place feels off because of all the magical torment happening. Anyway, Magic Hoarder. His magical ability is impeded, so he covetously pursues magic items. If he learns of a useful magic item, he sends an apprentice to claim it for him, or hires adventurers to retrieve it. These items enable Hazlik to hide his limitations and give him a taste of the magic he's lost. Oh, he's lost power. Interesting. Really interesting. Hazlik spies on his domain's inhabitants using his personal sigil, the Eye of Hazlik. The details of his pervasive surveillance are detailed in the Eye of Hazlik later in the domain description. Closing the borders, he can open and close borders of his domain at will, as detailed in the Mist at the start of the chapter. In addition to normal effects, they're filled with horrific magical experiments, such as misshapen chimeras, incomplete golems, and droves of Grimishka. Grimishka! This is the second time Grimishka have showed up as something that is messing with people. I wonder if all those failures are supposed to be his. Hazlik's torment. His arrogance defines his existence, but various aspects of his imprisonment undermine his ego and force him to doubt himself. Since entering Hazlan, he hasn't been able to learn new magic. Oh, that makes sense. No matter how much he studies or researches new magical lore or spells, he cannot master them. He can use and prepare any spells he already knows. But can no longer advance the magical research that formerly drove his life. Interesting. Vivid nightmares wherein Indreficus taunts him for his failures compound his frustrations. Well, at least it's not the all day, every day. He avoids sleeping to prevent them. By employing rare herbs and tinctures, he can go for days without sleeping, but his stock needs regular replenishing. This cycle casts Hazlik between the extremes of exhaustion, jitteriness, and paranoia. He is terrified of others learning of his limitations. This leads him to berate and betray other wizards, claim magical discoveries as his own, and endlessly spy on both rivals and visitors to this realm. Hazlik openly denies the various destructions afflicting his realm. At first, he didn't care that this strange world was being destroyed, expecting to escape it swiftly. As that seems increasingly unlikely, his dread clashes with his refusal to acknowledge that he's ever wrong. Ouch. Role-playing him. Everything is a useful tool, an amusement, or a potential spell component. However, he is deeply frustrated by his paralyzed magical ability and lashes out in response to the slightest setback. I'm getting the feeling he didn't jump through the portal. If the brands appeared on him, it's one of two things. Because it's Domains of Dread, I feel like it's all self-inflicted stuff. But another part of me, in a different world, would say that this is not... I would say that that's like a story. So here's what I would think: is I would think the Red Wizards of Thay, because he likes mental magic so much, what they did was they decided to take him and rearrange his memories and stuff so that he got through the portal and then all this stuff happened. But like in reality, he like ran up to the portal and it just like fizzled or something like that, and then they just started branding the him in junk, and then more and more people were doing similar crazy things started cropping up for some reason that they weren't aware of, because they put him in, let's say they put him in like a mind prison, and then the mind prison starts to like they don't know it, but it's like radiating this like energy that like crashes all around, and so more and more people start acting like Hazlik did, and so they started taking them, like this sounds like a Red Wizard of Thay thing to do, is taking them and like shoving them inside the mind prison that Hazlik's in, and so Hazlik's like the core of the prison, and then all these people are just getting shoved in as well, and having little bits of their memory rearranged and erased to like, you know, live in within his little realm. And just constantly doing that. That would be kind of interesting. And you could play a dual game between one set of players who are people stuck inside the mind prison, don't know it, and are trying to figure stuff out. And then people who are from outside the mind prison who have been told, like, we need to research this. It turns out that there's something really big going on. Not enough of a problem that we want to fix it and be, you know, decent people because we're the Red Wizards of Thay, but enough of a problem that we're intrigued and, like, we'll give you whatever you need. We'll even, like, send you into the Mindscape if you want, but no promises on that. Sending you into the Mindscape is very dangerous. Don't do that. And then, of course, the party will instantly jump inside of the Mindscape because why not? And that's where they can learn why Hazlik is stuck, and that's because he doesn't have any new information, and the reason why everyone else can get new stuff is because those are their memories rearranged and all configured, and they're just realizing stuff that's like from generations later after Hazlik. That would be a really interesting thing, and doesn't require Domains of Dread, unfortunately. But I mean, it's what you want to do with the game. But like, I think I would love to see a way to kind of like fuse the two together, so the Domains of Dread and this kind of experiment with the Wizards of Thay happens at the same time. But Wizards of Thay are supposed to be pretty obviously on a different power rating than whatever is happening in the Domains of Dread. The Domains of Dread are like top tier magic, and the Wizards of Thay are like mid tier magic, I would say. Like, and I'm not talking about like up to 9th level spells. I'm talking about like the difference is like this is a court of gods playing fun with their little domains, and as opposed to like, you know, the supreme magical influence in the world, which is still somehow kept at bay by everybody else. So they're not that big, you know, they're not that big, but they're definitely like, I would guess that they're probably like, for the material realm, like a mid to top tier country. Top tier in magic, obviously, but mid tier in the idea that like their governance is probably horrific, and the like constant death of all their people is probably the big thing keeping them from becoming like, you know, the big players on the plane. And you know, I know they're already big players. We're talking about like take over everything. So personality traits. Morality, is a comfortable term for cowardice. Reality bends to those bold enough to learn its secrets. That's neat. Especially for somebody who can't bend reality anymore. Knowledge is worth any price. That's his ideal. That doesn't sound like an ideal. That sounds like a flaw. Bond, my discoveries will change magic forever, and I will be legendary. Okay, sounds like another flaw. And his flaw is my brilliance knows no rivals. Okay, this guy's doomed. I can't see him surviving. No party could probably beat him on their own because of all of the Domains of Dread bosses that we've been reading about so far. Hazlik is specifically mentioned as not only being an Archmage, but an Archmage who uses as many magic items as possible to give himself the oomph he needs in combat. Which means, I think... Let me just check a wand of magic missiles. I can't remember if wands need to be bound anymore. search. Wand of magic missiles. Looks like no. Is there no attunement? There's no attunement. You can have dozens of wands of magic missiles. So I would roll him as he's got like a backpack. I would roll Hazlik as like he's maybe in his bag, or maybe like his staff is made up of a bunch of different magic wands. Like I could see this would be really interesting. Is first of all, obviously it's a staff of the Archmage, because that's what you're gonna give Hazlik. Then the staff, make it like Hazlik's personal one that he's like crafted very specifically. Make it have kind of like a shotgun breaching section that, or like the thing where you like pop it open and then pull it back, and it's got like a bunch of different wands in it that he's like placed in there, and so he make it like multiple little sections, and so each one has a wand, and he can like use that to do his magic for a while, and then like once he's once it's charred out, he like flips it over, pops it open, rips out the wand, just tosses it, because he doesn't care if these things survive at this point, and then just keeps like loading it up with new wands. I would do that for him. Probably give him some kind of other like potions, like tons of. I would find all the non-attunable items, and I would ruin a party's day by showing them the power of what non-attunement can do. Give him a nice wand of fireballs. Let's see. Adventures! Magic Elite test the boundaries, the domain crumbles. The result is a realm where supernaturals rack the land. Blah, blah. Yeah, it's awful here. Ooh, Eleni has charmed the purple worm Gravejanker, and is using it as a weapon against anyone against Hazlik. Oh. Oh. It breaks. That's hilarious. Purple Worms starts destroying the city. She's just like, I have to fix this before he finds out. Cast off magical creations, litter, dry lake bed called Obsession's End, sapient war machine, or an iron golem. And asks the party to help find a way to live an ordinary life. Make that a Warforged from Eberron, and it's same thing. I'm just saying to grab the Warforged from Eberron, because like you can make a PC about that, or you could do a couple things. Just the important part is giving a way to communicate with the party. Innumerable Grimishkas. Oh, can Iron Golems talk actually? Languages understands but cannot speak. Yeah, that's the problem. Innumerable Grimishkas collect in caves along what's known as the Gnawing Path. They plot to overwhelm Slyvar and will pass through Toyalis in the process. Members of both communities request exterminators. I love it. A cult forms around the Philosopher's Egg. 8-story citrine egg perched atop Mesa. Nice! Cultists hunt for someone who has never been touched by magic to release the unborn anti-magic entity. Ooh, that could be really cool. Especially if one of the PCs just happens to have never been hit by a magic spell. That's not likely, but oh boy. One of his apprentices sends multiple groups to capture a Star Spawn emissary. It's funny that they don't have the link. I guess it's because there's the lesser and the greater. It emerged from a meteor. It disappears, slipping in among its would-be captors. Ooh, that would be fun. Apprentice yearns to explore bottomless pit. Needs test crew. Yeah, of course. Okay, is any of these like more interesting? Commoner kidnapped, forced to become wizard's apprentice. And family hires them to retrieve them, but the kidnappee has adjusted to the decadent life of an amoral. Okay. Moon over Hazland shatters and plummets toward the ground. That's scary. The site throws Toyalis into chaos. Residents demand that the characters help them flee the disaster. They don't have time. Hazlik's apprentices needs agents to search for a suspected found of youth said to have formed along the innumerable magical toxins polluting the swamp known as the Brew. Fountain of Youth could be cool. Knows his domain's days are numbered. Attempts to use characters to recreate living portal that first brought him. Oh! Interesting. Either as creators or raw materials. Magic, prestige, and terror in Hazland. Magic is a source of prestige and terror in every world. Like, that's not like any world where you have people who can do magic and people who can't do magic is a world where one of the two is gonna like you can make a world that's like not like that, but that's like the go-to. That's been the go-to for like ever. It's just like even before at the early days of D&D, it was like, oh my gosh, a wizard, like because they have 4 hit points and will die from D4 damage. But magic in the dying domain, wild. Hey, monkey feats. If you're interested, there is a link down in the what's it called? There's a link down below. That's just a picture of Discord that can take you to the Discord that I got running, which is basically for streaming and stuff. I'm in the streaming section if you want to talk or anything like that. I just noticed that my number had changed to 2, and it says Monkey Feats is in the users or whatever. So I just figured have a call out. Let's see. Magic is a source of prestige and terror in Hazland. Commoners fear it, but it represents a path of desperation. While the elite worth magical and skill. Adventurers in Hazland are treated as outsiders by the elite and potential threats by the common folk. Worse, visitors who don't understand the dangerous nature of magic in the domain might accidentally unleash magical ruin. And Hazland has its own wild magic table. Excessive experimentation has caused the nature of magic in Hazland to fray, making the domain a giant magic. Whenever a character casts a spell of first level or higher or activates a magic item, an additional effect might occur. Player rolls a d10. If they roll a 1, roll on the Hazland wild magic table to determine the effect. Only Hazlik is unaffected by the domain's wild magic. Interesting. Man, do this as a wild mage sorcerer. I think that's the whole game. Just like all of the wild magic packed onto one. Just take a minute to look over this wild magic table. Wild magic surge. Oh, you could wild magic surge into a wild magic surge. Perfect. Fireball centered on self, of course. Okay, yeah. I like the cats showing up. That's 8 to 9, just a bunch of cats show up. And the rest is kind of meh. Alright, so the Eye of Hazlik. Since that comes up here, it's time to move in and find that. Ooh, Arcane Gate. The Eye of Hazlik. Also the giant worm grave drinker. Stylized eye-like designs adorn buildings, art, clothing, and talismans. Across Hazland, the Eye of Hazlik. Locals claim the symbol wards off dangerous magic and offers protection from magical creatures. It's also said that spellcasters who wear the symbol are less likely to suffer the domain's wild magic effects. Remarkably, it's not all superstition. Eye of Hazlik takes the shape reminiscent of the eye-like tattoos that covered his body. It can be any size and can be treated from any medium. A tattoo, a medallion, an embroidered motif, or even a building-sized mural. Okay. It's not magical. However, you can, once per day, not roll on the Hazland Wild Magic table while having one of those equipped to you. Hazlik is aware of any spellcast or magic item used within his domain within 30 feet of one of the eyes. He's also aware of the spell's level and the rarity of such a magic item. At any time, he can use the eye in his domain as a stationary eye created by the arcane eye spell. He can spy through the eye whenever and for as long as he pleases. The eye radiates magic, while Hazlik spies through it. Please tap into the Dark Lord's Mastery of Magic within his domain, helping to stabilize the wearer's magic at a price. Hazlik uses the eyes to keep track of magic users in his domain, spying on those who might be useful and threatening him. This surveillance enables him to reinforce his reputation as an ever-present, brilliant overlord. That's kind of neat. I wonder if that's why he can't cast spells, because of the constant watching thing. Or can't, not cast spells, but he can't, like, make up new magic, because it's all too much information on him or something. Anyway, we are done with Hacklin. There's only a few of these left to my understanding. Ikath, Kalakeri, and I think there's one more. Yeah. Oh, no, there's many more. There's Valakan, Tipest, Ricamilot, Mordant, Lamordia, Kartakass, Kalakeri, and Ikath. Whew. We still haven't gone through these other sections. I'm not even sure if I'm going to go over these other sections as much, because the Sire 1313 was my most interesting thing in this list. And then Travelers in the Mists, just kind of, I don't need to know about all the people who go wandering around the mists, although they are interesting. But let's see what more we're kind of looking at, because this is a fun book, but it's also, I'm hitting my, I would say, hitting my limit on just reading about these basically horrible places. So Kath is an inescapable dream world trapped in a dream. Dark Lord is Xian Chang. I hope I said that right. I have no chance of having said that right. Let's see what... Oh, copyright. Okay. So let's see. Language log, how to pronounce the surname. Qian. Qian. Qian? Qian. It's Qian. And then... Nope. Here's the thing where it just shows the letterings. I guess it's Chong. Chong? Hmm. Anyway, so I'm obviously bad at the name. I'm gonna say Qian. Dark Lord? Let's go with Dark Lord. So, endlessly changing labyrinth, deadly Jiangxi, inescapable dream world, scrap of ghost hair silk, small golden bell, scroll covered in prayers of the mist talismans. I like these. So when the inhabitants fall asleep, they enter an alternate version of the city they call home. A city dreamed into being by the domain's Dark Lord. Ooh. In time, one cannot remember which version is the real Ikath and which one is the dream. That's super cool. Surreal, knotted streets echo with emptiness. This is the physical world. Spare, meandering, da-da-da. Majority of the populace slump against walls or sprawl against each other where they fell. They lie trapped within a collective dream world created by the city's rulers. The city's ruler. Dark Lord, because if you know how to pronounce that, any help would be great. But I don't want to. I don't know how that's said. I think it's Chang, but I just don't. Wait, was it? Okay, no, it's IANG. I even spelled it wrong. That's perfect. How to pronounce? Nope, I spelled it wrong again. Chiang. I mean, lots of different things. Looks like it's just Chiang, though. Or Shanga. Shang? Shang? Xiang. That's not great. Where's our button that we can click just to hear the name? Within this shared dream, they labor ceaselessly, ever striving to create impossible perfect city of a perfectionist mastermind. Within the dreaming, he rules a golden vision of the city, a place of ultimate beauty and efficiency where all things move according to her design. Oh, sorry. Wait a sec. How can you not tell the difference between the place that's like empty and horrible and there's sprawling walls and everything and the place that's like literally a golden perfection city? For her, it is near perfection. For her people, is a nightmare of inescapable drudgery. Oh dear. Glorious palace, 4 perfect daughters. Okay. But only at night? Interesting. Okay. In the dream world, since they don't have to. In the dream world, since they don't have to eat, they just work all day. Oh, Nightingale Bell. I'm just kind of skipping around because I kind of get it now. So the Nightingale Bell renews the magic of the dream world, keeps the citizens asleep, also calls forth the legion of the undead ancestors whom she's bent to her will. Those Jiangshi emerge from their tombs and reshape the city's maze-like streets, striving to match the vision with merciless perfection. Dark Lord's servants carefully move sleepers they encounter out of the way of their work, but prey upon any waking souls who cross their path. Oh! Oh, this is cool! I like this place. Ikath is cool. Doesn't need to be a domain of dread, but Ikath is super cool. Find themselves in a gray, haunted, ever-changing city where food is scarce and Jiangshi hunt the living. Any whom the mists carry. Yeah. With twilight comes a terrible choice. Endure the uncertain terrors of the waking world, or succumb to the endless servitude and sleep. Yes! This is good. Love this. This is awful. Fight an army of Jiangshi. It doesn't matter. They don't matter. Nothing matters. This is my kind of game. This is in D&D. For me, it's a go broke or go home scenario of I either get to do what I want to do as a player, or I better have no reason to do anything but the plot. This is awful. This is so awful. Oh, it's broken. It's so broken. You can do so much with this. Have the Jiangshi come out during the day. Do like have them have just so much fun, so much fun. I love the bell. Just the bell to be like, go to sleep. No. Oh, elves are ruined. Oh my God, this world would destroy elves. Poor elves. Because everyone, I don't know if the bell, what the bell exactly does, because it says it renews the magic and keeps the citizens asleep. Keeps the citizens asleep. So it probably doesn't make them go to sleep, but anybody who does go to sleep, oh, just imagine being an elf here, and you're like, I shall do my nightly meditation. And then you hear the bell, and you're like, okay, there's a bell going off, whatever. And then a Jiangshi picks you up, and you're like, excuse me? Oh man, this can scare elves to no limit. Wander the city by day and gather at the Palace of Bones at night. This is so cool. I want to know more about the daughters. Gemstone Gardens. It's just a bunch of places. Here we go. The home of her and her daughters. Okay. Walls and supports are built from the bones of those who died as a result of the Dark Lord's harsh governance over her homeland. Inside, the grimly beautiful palace displays its splendor with elaborate architecture and bone murals, while revealing its neglect with despair and emptiness. Only her library sees regular use. The Dark Lord spends her days here drawing new plans for her city and analyzing mysterious forces and mystical fortunes in pursuit of the ultimate harmonious design. Beautiful but poisonous plants fill palace's courtyard. Among these gardens rise an ancient willow tree and Pingon Tower. I would. This sounds like a really good opportunity to, as a DM, pull out your map making stuff and do like a Flower of Life or what is it? The Golden Ratio? Golden Ratio. Images of Golden Ratio. So like the golden spiral ratio, which like it's can be seen in what is considered, I guess, like good art and stuff. I don't know a lot about it, but like it's this golden spiral that like ever goes outward, and then like Flower of Life is a like constant pattern that shows up a lot in life. Just like it's something that we as humans made over and over throughout, like all over the world. I would build the city. I would suggest build the city, but like have it be reaching towards this perfection of this kind of an ideal of the golden ratio and the Flower of Life pattern happening over and over and over again. I think anybody who knows about it would really get it really quick. Like, that's what this is about. And always, like, make weird little errors in it, because, like, it's... Not that it's, like, impossible to make, but do something to, like, show that it's not perfect. It's not just right. That's super cool, though. We're going to talk about... the dream. This is only in the Dark Lord's dreams. Through the warped power of the Nightingale Bell, she shares her vision of a sprawling, orderly city run by an obedient, thankful populace. The bell spreads the dream to dominate the sleep of Ikat's population. causing it to persist even when she is awake. Dream City is a vision of perfection for her. And I want to say the name so bad, but I just don't want to say it the wrong way. But for all others, it's a realm of inescapable drudgery and thankless labor. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to just use the restroom real quick. And I am back. Let's see. As a child, home destroyed, colonizing force, forcing her to flee into frozen mountains where she expected to die. Fortunately, a gold dragon took pity on her and gave her shelter. With nowhere else to go, she promised to serve the dragon. That's gonna be a plot problem, isn't it? Poor gold dragon, being a good person. During the years that followed, she attended the dragon, learning mysterious magic and medicine. In time, she became an accomplished wizard. Yet when she spoke of avenging her family and reclaiming her people's lands, her dragon mentor chided her for holding on to her hatred and refused to teach her dangerous magic. Eventually, she could deny her revenge no longer. Among her mentor's records, she had learned of a bell that could make its ringer's dreams come true, but creating the bell required the scale of a gold dragon. Knowing her mentor would never provide a scale, she drugged the dragon with a rare herb, planning to steal a small scale while he slept. But in her haste, she mixed the herbal concoction poorly. The dragon's body and everything nearby rapidly aged and decayed, killing her benefactor and destroying a hoard filled with ages of treasures and wisdom. Her home had been destroyed again, but a single golden scale remained. Using the scale, she constructed the nightingale bell and dragged it to her occupied city. Tolling it, she wished for a city devoid of invaders, and instantly they vanished. I'm not liking that! Sounds like the dragon's magic is done! Awed and delighted, the nation executed the few invaders lingering outside, and made her the queen. She ruled for years, enacting vast reforms and strict but sensible laws in pursuit of creating the perfect empire. She had a family, taking particular pride in her 4 beloved daughters. As the memory of her past victories faded, her people grew frustrated with her stern laws and demanding orders. Though her capital had become a radiant center of learning and art, the citizens revolted. She acted swiftly to quell the uprising with numerous executions. Yet the revolution grew, I wonder why. Everything she wished for fell into flames. No, she wished for one thing. Thank you very much. She showed no mercy to the rebels, ordering her armies to kill the families of all insurrectionists. In response, assassins struck the palace, and although she survived, her family did not. Distraught, she climbed to the highest tower of her palace, looked out over her burning dreams, and struck the nightingale bell. Rather than granting her vengeful wish, the bell cracked and spilled a golden mist across the land. When it cleared, the perfect city was gone, replaced by the unreal prison city of the path. Yeah. That's what happens. Her stats are those of a mage. Weird, I'd have put her at Archmage, but whatever. Access to a variety of magic items, favorite being the ornate robe, but that functions similarly to the handy haversack and wings of fly. Backpack, central pouch, 2 side pouches, each of which is an extra dimensional space. Each side pouch can hold up to 20 pounds of material, not exceeding a volume of 2 cubic feet. Large central pouch can hold up to 8 cubic feet or 80 pounds of material. Backpack always weighs 5 pounds regardless of contents. So 80 plus 40 is 120. That's pretty good. You could get all your gear in that, basically. Retrieving an item requires you to use an action. When you reach into the haversack, the specific item is always magically on top. That's nice. How big is a cubic foot, I wonder? I guess it's a cube, so it's like a three-dimensional cube. How many feet in a cubic foot? Because it's not one, right? Oh no, 1 cubic feet is 1 feet. 2 cubic feet is 1.25 feet. What? I'm confused. Two feet is 8 cubic feet. Interesting. Well, the answer is it's 1 to 1, and then it's not. It's not for a long forever. All right. She uses her robe to store scrolls detailing her plans. For renovation, she also enforces her will upon her domain in a variety of other ways. She dreams of perfection, renovating the city. Let's talk about her daughters, because they're supposed to be dead. She used the bell to revive her 4 daughters who had been murdered in the uprising against her. The bell created 2 sets of interpretations of her daughters. The set inside the dream are perfect recreations of her lost daughters. Those in the waking cities are monstrous interpretations of her memories. Innocent but unnatural beings, these eerie daughters in the waking world hold the key to undermining her hold over the city's dreams. Interesting. Alright, so let's go back to the dream of perfection. Her magical creation, the Nightingale Bell, traveled with her to Ikoth. Soon after the city's rebirth, she used the cracked bell to wish for her perfect city. Instead, her wish became a persistent dream world that occupies the dreams of all those who sleep. In this dream, her every plan is executed to perfection as her city moves with brilliant efficiency. Chang luxuriates with perfect dream versions of her lost daughters. Each evening, she relays her orders for the reconstruction of to her droves of Jiangxi agents, led by Minister Suen. Suen then disseminates the orders to the Jiangxi of the Gemstone Garden, who work through the night. Every morning, I'm just gonna try to say the name. It's bad. Like, I'll just tell me if it's bad. I can try to fix it. Xianshang. Qianchang finds some aspects of the city's miraculous changes unacceptable and returns to her palace, where she spends the day assembling new orders for her servants. This is wild. The daughters! We did that. Closing those borders. Ikoth is surrounded by walls and by the mists beyond that. Xiang believes everyone in Ikoth has a responsibility to strive for perfection. So she keeps her people imprisoned within the city. Hold on. As a result, the domain's borders are always closed. What? There's detail in this section. Should she open the borders, the 4 trees gate appears, and the mists beyond the walls don't prevent passage. Oh man, come on. Freedom! Fortune confounds her in many ways, but the following are the most pronounced examples. She wishes to make the dream a reality, and though her servants follow her plans perfectly, the city grows endlessly more disordered. She relishes the dream vision of Ikoth, but makes the reality of her city all the more unbearable. But it makes the reality more unbearable. She won't let the corruption of her real city invade her dream, and aggressively stamps out imperfections in the dream realm. The loss of her daughters haunts her. She knows the idealized dream versions are fictions, but she still spends as much time with those possible. She avoids their eerie, waking world versions whom she fails to love. Interesting. She pursues an unattainable set of goals, a perfect city, a thankful populace, and an ideal family. Yet she's unable to articulate the specifics of her desires and is unwilling to compromise. She lashes out at those unable to match her visions of perfection, seeing others' failings but not her own. Only the dream created by the nightingale bell offers her any respite. I see what's best for my city and its people. I will lead them to perfection. Once my city knows harmony, then I can rest. Bond. What I want and what's best for my people are one and the same. These are not great personality traits. These are all flaws. Perfection is the only acceptable standard. The flawed must be remade and the lazy must serve. No! Why must the lazy serve? Why can't you just accept that it's all doomed from the start? So, real world, dream world, and your adventures can kind of run the gamut of those. That's interesting. Not super interested in reading all of these. Just gonna scan. Missing, spy known as a criminal. Oh, interesting. As Zhang approaches the characters and asks them to locate one or more of her lost family members within the city. She's worried about what's become of her family. Their bodies should be in the city, but she's lost track of them. That's really interesting. It's when a soul is trapped in the corpse, bitterness creates the Zhang. So on Tarantine Retribution, First Resurrections, Rigor Mortis. Interesting. Really interesting that a being that's built off of bitterness is worried about their family. I wonder how you would play that off, or how you would even get the party to accept such a quest. Probably don't let them. Don't tell them that that Zhang are beings of bitterness. Let's see. Library in the Palace of Bones holds secrets about the border between reality and dreams. Characters must infiltrate the palace, find the information, and escape before she returns at dawn. A desperate veteran wakes from the dream and attempts to set all of Ikath on fire, believing it is better for everything to burn than to live a lie. Characters must choose how to contend with the murderous arsonist. Ooh, all but one of her daughters have gone missing, and the remaining daughter is either Seu-Mei or Lei-An, neither of whom can speak. The daughter crosses the party's path and silently begs for help. Thanks. For some, the unending dream forced upon the populace represents a tempting alternative to the bleak, haunted reality of Ikath. However, those who succumb to the dream retain little hope of escaping the city. Anyone who sleeps in Ikath enters the dream of a bustling, beautiful city filled with smiling people, but the forced smiles hide desperation from the watchful eyes of Xianxiang's stoic young she sisters. I am messing this up too much. Too many eons and eons for me right now. The people undertake endless repetitive tasks, scrubbing the city's coinage, counting the seconds. Those who fail to keep up are reassigned to exhausting labor. Those who rebel are dragged off to lightless cells or slain outright, forcing them to awaken. Oh, and then they have the Jiangshi to contend with. Creatures have statistics they do in waking life. If a creature dies in the dream, they take 3d6 psychic, return to the waking world, and do not receive any benefit from the rest that just ended. So they can die. If the Jiangshi attack people who are awake in the real world, it's interesting that there are those with family. So, like, you might have family, but you'd be willing to attack them, I guess? That suggests a lot of things for that adventure. Like, either... So maybe the Jiangshi took care, found them awake and, like, killed them. But then they might have told, the family member who asked about them, who is a Jiangshi. But they also might have, like, hidden it from them, which suggests that the Jiangshi are not, like, united in purpose, essentially. I don't know how I would play that. Nightingale Bell. The bell fuels Xianshang's dream. Chang must ring the bell once per day to maintain the dream. Otherwise, the dream fades and everyone in the domain wakes. Only Xianshang can use the Nightingale Bell to maintain the dream of the calf. However, anyone can ring the bell to enter the dream bodily, as though it were a demiplane. A creature that physically enters the dream leaves behind no body, and if killed, dies for real. The bell is protected by the dark powers and cannot be destroyed. Wild. The character cannot remove levels of exhaustion by finishing a long rest in a calf, if they spend any part of that rest in Chang's dream. Characters with no levels of exhaustion wake from the dream after 6 hours. Characters with 1 or more can try to wake up after every 6 hours they spend in the dream. To awaken, they must succeed at a wisdom saving throw. Those who fail remain in the dream for another 6 hours, after which they can try to escape again. Creatures that do not sleep can choose to either enter the dream by meditating. If they enter the dream, they are affected by it as if they were sleeping. Many residents don't attempt to escape the dream, considering existence within it preferable to life in the real city. Her daughters, which there are 4, and then there's ways of disrupting the dream. In her desperation to be reunited with her daughters, she uses the Nightingale Bell to wish her murdered children back to being. She used it. To her shock, each daughter reborn into the waking world took on an unnatural form. Although these young women mirror the personalities of her true daughters and their doubles in the dream version of the calf, their forms and abilities are radically different. She shuns them, but doesn't do them harm. Now these 4 strange beings wander a calf, curious about the city, eager to please their mother. Every dusk, they assemble at the Palace of Bones, hoping for kindness from Xianchang as she hurriedly passes them to ascend Ping'an Tower. Her daughters are generally good-natured, but anxieties prevent the daughters from sleeping. If offered comfort and kindness so that the 4 sisters are all equally at ease, the daughters are able to fall asleep. See Disrupting the Dream. So this has like a whole thing on like how to fix this. So this feels less like a domain of dread, more like a one-shot of dread. 4 daughters have the following names, forms, and simple dreams. Lei-An is made entirely of eyes. It has the statistics of a scarecrow. She wishes for a robe of ghost hair silk or Jiangxi's slippers. She spends much of her time wandering the mansions, ripping through the possessions of sleeping city dwellers. Boundaries. But yeah, it's creepy, but also this is a horrible place anyway. Man Yi, made of pale wood. She must remain near the willow tree in the courtyard of the Palace of Bones, and has the statistics of a dryad. She wishes for flowers from the gemstone garden, or for a friend to fall asleep under her tree's boughs. Seu-Mei, voiceless, is made entirely of teeth, and has the statistics of a ghoul. How can no one know which daughter is which? She wishes to eat a delicious dessert or care for one of the fish of the gemstone gardens. She often wanders the stalls of Wai-Huit Center. Wai-Huit? Wai-Hui. It's gonna stop all in my head. Wai-Ching, maid of living fog, the youngest daughter and the statistics of a specter. Wishes to help a spirit from Ping-An Tower find its family, or play with an incorporeal toy. Regularly explores the memorials in the gemstone gardens. Interesting. And it was which daughter? Seu-Mei or Lei-An. Made of eyes, made of teeth, and no one can tell the difference. Guys, they got the powers. Damaging the dream undermines her grip on Pakath, freeing the dreaming populace and opening the domain's borders. Thousands of living people suddenly need to be fed, but they can reclaim normal lives. Those looking to spoil the dream can do so in the following ways. Dreaming daughters. All 4 of her daughters in the waking world fall asleep. Their sleepless forms will replace their doubles in the dream city. This unites them with their mother in her perfect world, exactly as they've always wanted. She is horrified by their intrusion and will flee her dream. Interesting. Dreams of revolution. Kath's dreamers and displaced ancestral spirits might be persuaded to revolt. Yeah, might. This leads to extreme responses from the Dark Lord and her servants, but could force her to neglect or end the dream. Waking dream. A particularly compelling waking individual, spirit, or goal within a Kath waking individual, spirit, or goal distracts her from her dream. Perhaps the spirits of her lost family haunt the mansions, or an individual directs the Jiangxi to perfectly execute the Dark Lord's plans. Either outcome might lead to her to focus on reality and let her dream slip away for a time. Okay. Kalakeri. War-torn nation. Dark Lord is Ramya Vasavadam. Stability and prosperity until barbarous civil war and a queen's dying curse brought low when centuries never. Interesting. Deceptively beautiful land of verdant rainforests. People live in dread as a single misstep means doom. Have we seen... I must have just looked at this map before, but I swear I could have sworn that this map seems similar to something that we've seen before. Let's just check the previous chapters real quick. Do you have any maps? Oh, not that one. Not that one. No, I must have just been thinking about something else. Yeah, no, that's true. Rainforests. Let's just skip ahead to Ramya. The Vasavadan dynasty has ruled over Kalakeri since ancient times. Ramya was handpicked by her father to succeed him. On the bleak day of the Maharana's death, her brother, Arjani, declared himself the new Maharana. Interesting. Allied with Ranas, hungry for unearned power. Allied with Ranas. What is Ranas? Ranas must be some kind of a leader type? Dictionary. Rana. Is Rana a word? Rana is a valid Scrabble word. Come on, give me what it means, guys. Animals. Hindu ruler or Raja. Okay, that's what a Rana is. Allied with Ranas, hungry for unearned power, Arjani tried to force Ramya to relinquish the Sapphire Throne. Ramya refused to yield. Moving swiftly, she organized her allies, met her brother in battle, and captured him. She intended to execute him, but her sister counseled her to be merciful. No! 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 Ah, the sister! Ultimately, she forgave the rebel faction. Arjani was imprisoned, and she ascended as Kalakeri's Maharani, the Queen of Kings. That's it. That was it. Golden period followed as she promoted learning and upheld justice. Meanwhile, Riva secretly coordinated with Ramya's foes. Of course! Of course Riva did that. Riva's the sister, right? Yeah, of course. Ah. After years of resentment and plotting, the rebels freed Arjani and spurred nobles across the nation into open revolt, of course. The resulting conflict swiftly turned vicious. Regretting her past mercy, she captured enemy Ranas and executed them using flame and ravenous tigers, while her loyalists put anyone suspected of treason to the sword. No! No! The problem was not... The Maharani's brutality increased distrust in her rule. Why? The fighting spread. Come on. I hate these stories. It's a classic story. It's a wonderful classic story. But... After numerous battles, Riva begged her sister to meet her brother and negotiate an end to the war. Ramya, who remained ignorant of Riva's part in freeing him, trusted her sister and walked straight into their trap. That's how this goes down. Ambushers slaughtered her royal guard and captured the Maharani. In the central courtyard of the Cerulean Citadel, Arjani sentenced his sister to death. As the court stranglers garrote crushed her windpipe, she cursed her brother and sister, calling them bloodthirsty beasts. Arjani and Riva denied their sister the honors befitting a Maharani, dumping her corpse into the sea. As they did, a terrible monsoon struck the Harvest Peninsula. bringing with it walls of supernatural mist that closed around Kalakeri. Who's the Dark Lord here? Is it Ramya? The storm lashed Kalakeri for weeks, and when it reached its height, Ramya emerged from her watery grave. Reborn with terrifying power, she called upon those who had been slaughtered in her service. Loyal in death, a corpse legion joined the revitalized Maharani. They stalked the streets of Jadurai, tore down the gates of the Cerulean Citadel, and slaughtered those who'd betrayed Ramya. They dragged Arjani and Riva into the court where their sister died, and there Ramya declared them traitors. The treacherous pair clawed and howled like beasts as undead elephants crushed them to death. Their wails of terror left Ramya unmoved. Cool. That must be the dark part of the story. It's gonna be something. Arjani and Riva's plots didn't end with their lives, however. They too were reborn, transformed into fiends with animalistic features by their souls' ravenous desires. And so the conflict gripping Kalakeri continues, trapping the nation in an endless war and forcing its people to swear loyalty to monsters. Ah, a Death Knight. So unstoppable, essentially, by most rulings. Ramya desperately tries to hold on to or retake the Sapphire Throne in a cycle of victory and loss with her equally uncompromising siblings. Although an illusion disguises her deathless state, she constantly feels the chill in her bones and her own crumbling flesh. Her existence has become one of constant struggle, doubt, and defeat as her obsessions shape all of Kalakeri. She eagerly leads her troops in battles, rides into combat upon a war elephant or wyvern, and carries the legendary Talwar longsword and longbow of the Vasavadan dynasty's founder. The Vasavadan coat of arms, a golden wyvern clutching a white lotus in its talons, emblazons her armor and that of her soldiers. Merciless, she demands loyalty from her subjects. She and her soldiers kill anyone whom she considers a traitor, a status extended not only to those who back Arjani and Riva, but even to those who don't support her vociferously enough. Her paranoia makes her ruthless, leading her to slaughter countless innocents. Deathless loyalty. Her armies and the guards at Cerulean Citadel obey Ramya without question, despite thousands of them having died in her service. These soldiers' loyalty follows them into death. Any living soldier who dies in the army returns to life as an undead warrior, a skeleton or white, on the night of the next new moon and rejoins the Maharani's army. Ramya's living followers consider this deathless state an honor and the ultimate mark of loyalty. Blood relatives. She will never compromise with her siblings, Arjani and Riva. Yeah, I bet. She constantly struggles to quell the rebellion they lead, as detailed in Treachery at Kalakeri later in this domain. Closing the borders. Ramya can close or open Kalakeri's borders as detailed in the Mists at the start of this chapter, but she can do so only while she controls the Sapphire Throne. Close or open, yeah. If her faction is out, the domain's borders remain in their current state until she regains control. Do they talk about the brothers? They talk about the brother and sister a bit. Arjani and Eva. Okay, cool. For torment. The dark powers endlessly conspire to confound her. Why? But more persistently in the following ways. Ramya's treacherous siblings endlessly contest her reign and sow discord across Kalakeri. Why? Oh no. Ramya both loathes and loves her siblings, so despite their perpetual deception, she remains vulnerable to their promises and lies. Ramya can manipulate her domain and control its borders only while she controls the Sapphire Throne. If she is ousted and one of her siblings controls the Cerulean Citadel, doubt and despair weaken her influence over her domain until she retakes her seat of power. An illusion masks her undead state, her true nature is revealed only by the chill of her skin and in her withered reflection. Ramya permits no mirrors in her presence, lest the curse be revealed. Wonder what happens if you cast like Resurrection or True Resurrection on her. Just like randomly. Just like, well, bam! Just cast it while she's not looking. Ramya is distant and aloof, though she craves connection, I bet. Those who speak with her find her measured in conversation and capable of kindness and humor. However, a vein of paranoia runs through all her actions, and she reacts to any hint of suspicious words or deeds with creative and potentially lethal tests and punishments. There is loyalty and there is treachery. In rule, there are no half measures. I will regain my deserved glory, even if I must scour the world with my wrath. I still love those who oppose me. The flames of righteousness provide the swiftest path to renewal. None are truly trustworthy. I am utterly alone. Aww. I feel for her. Kalakeri is trapped in an unbreakable spiral of suffering and hate. The common folk exert no control over the struggle for the Sapphire Throne and are forced to maintain the appearance of loyalty towards rival terrors. Every part of Kalakeri holds secrets and dangers, and nowhere is untouched by its rulers' war for dominance. When planning adventures, consider who controls the Sapphire Throne, Ramya or Arjani and Viva. Either faction is likely to notice the party and court them as potential allies. The characters then walk the fine line detailed in Treachery and Kalakeri section later in the domain description. The wilds might also fuel terrifying adventures. The lands hold all manner of perilous ruins and mysteries. The secrets of lost rulers to the practices of forbidden magicals. These seem... This again doesn't feel like it needs to be a domain. Like I'm not getting the connection to Domains of Dread. I don't know why. Same with the last one, and I guess the one before. I don't know. I don't know. Some of this one, the last one, and I think the one before it, which was maybe I felt that with a lot of them. So the Hazlan, I felt it. Harakir kind of made sense, I thought. Kovni I thought made sense. I don't know, for some reason I'm not feeling the same level of making sense as a Domain of Dread in a few of these. Not sure why. I think it's just because these are like... I feel that there's like another answer to some of these things that makes it less Domain of Dread. Like I don't get why the Dark Powers care. That's huge. I don't get why they care. Like other ones, obviously they're you know they're evil and they're doing evil for the sake of evil, things like that. But like this just seems like what you would expect in a D&D campaign with like high level characters fighting over a country. It's like all of a sudden one of them became undead. It's like, oh no. Anyway, adventures, bandits, stone giant guru. Ooh, that sounds cool. Path to enlightenment. Those become petrified? Hold on. I don't... Those who fail to prove devotion to his teachings turn up petrified? How many have proven failure at that? Is he a stone giant? That would be cool, like a Medusa pretending to be a stone giant or something like that. Sea boils, dozens of servants, rare Alvanji spice, miraculous medicinal properties, is grown only in the gardens of the Cerulean Citadel. Why? Mysterious Oni merchant offers to pay good money for the spice and even more for the seeds. Yeah! I'll take that deal. A parent asks the characters to bring their runaway teenager home, not knowing the child has joined Ramya's army, died, and returned as a white. Yes, I love it. That's awesome. Riva employs the party to find the forbidden ruins of Baru, said to lie somewhere. One second, gotta check something. Said to lie somewhere in Ashwagandha Mountains. She believes her ancestors imprisoned a powerful force there, which she hopes to awaken and bend to her service. Bad Riva! No, bad idea. Let's see. Shadows of people are disappearing. They soon sicken and die. Local leader claims the plague's cure lies among the hidden isles known as the Ashram of Niranjan. Ashram of Niranja. Detailed in other domains of dread. Later, this chapter. Oh, it's just a different place. Commoner begs to prove sibling's loyalty to Ramya. Time is short. Sibling arrested. Taken to the Tower of Traitors to face execution. Ramya desires a consort to cement her rulership and bring stability to the kingdom. A character who is a capable warrior may catch her attention. That's a fun. It's gonna sound weird that like that's a fun thing, but like I have seen in campaigns where they're like, here is this person who gets flirty with the party, but specifically it's like based on charisma checks and stuff like that. And I've rarely seen it's like, it's because he has 18 strength and is good at fighting. Or like not even good at fighting, like the DM and the players together kind of figure out what is deemed as like a capable warrior. And you can even like base it on just like your idea of what's going on. Like she would probably pick a capable warrior as like 1, loyalty above all else, and then like 2 is like able to hold a line, like she probably wants him to be able to do all the things a warrior can do, but the loyalty is probably one of the most important aspects. I sincerely doubt that she would be interested in any character who's like just left their party to die. I could see her being interested in a character who's schemy and like leaves their party to die, but like they can like if they can play it off as like this made sense tactically, she might be more interested because like it's clear loyalty is her big thing, but because of the way that her sister and brother act, it's also clear that like she might listen to somebody who's like particularly like crafty and whatnot. Like that might intrigue her. Is the whole like, he says a lot of words and things happen. Or she actually doesn't say. Bring stability to the realm. Well, there's actually a big problem with that. Is like if she wants to bring stability to the realm, she should probably have as a consort like somebody who's part of the enemy or something like that. Like if there's a single lord of the enemy side that's like alive and doing his own thing and is like I don't know 10, 20, 30%. If she could get a guy who had like a good chunk of the enemy's army to join her side, like that would be huge and that would provide stability. Like a single warrior PC is not in general going to provide stability, but like it's D&D, so like maybe they're like particularly well known. Maybe they do something that like gets both sides. Like that guy's cool, because if you can get both sides to really like one individual, then she marries him. Like it's like a House of Cards thing. Because I don't see it does I don't see it as bringing stability. At best, it's like if she's fighting her brother and sister, this person's here to help out. So, Vasavad warrior traitors. Her rule over Kalakeri is constantly jeopardized and undermined by her deceitful siblings' endless pursuit of power. Yes, who'd have thought? They promise their followers wealth, freedom, and a chance for unprecedented social ascension, but in truth their agendas are entirely self-serving, and they care for nothing but control. Whether or not the characters agree with these rebellious royals' agendas, they present the most significant opposition to Ramya's ruthless control of Kalakeri. while defeating them is the swiftest route to gaining Ramia's favor. That part, the ruthless control, might be the problem. Let's see what Ramia's... There might be problems with Ramia's planning. Arjani is the charming face of the resistance for all who opposed Ramia's control of the Sapphire Throne. Just look at that tiger face. Right there. Look at him go. Like Ramia and Riva, Arjani was given a second life by the Dark Powers. Yeah, so they just showed up and messed with people. I would say... Riva should be one. Not the Dark Powers, but she should be the one who made the deal with the Dark Powers. And I would change her to, like, the true Dark Lord and something, because Strahd had to make a deal, and I like the idea of somebody made a deal somewhere. I don't know. We'll see what's up. Rakshasa, Arjani uses Mastery of Illusions, and Riva's insights to manipulate Ramya and his other foes. He is gregarious and enjoys the finer things in life, traits that ingratiate him with the wealthy and influential supporters he seeks to attract to his cause. So he's fun to hang out with. That's unfortunate. These traits also allow him to cultivate a persona of vacant decadence, which he uses as a mask so his foes will underestimate him and reveal themselves. Arjani has faked his and Riva's deaths on multiple occasions, after which they always return resurrected, leading Ramya to believe they can never be truly defeated. Interesting. Rakshasa. This is going to be their most powerful ability right here, is the limited magic immunity. Can't be affected by spells of 6th level or lower. I believe a Death Knight only has up to 4th or 5th level spells. Up 5th level spells, she can't hurt him with her magic, which puts her on the defensive against him. He's only got 110 hit points versus her 180. She's got armor class 20 versus his 16. So in melee, she could probably 2d6 for 9, 1d8 for 9, but plus 11 to hit. So she's got a much better chance of hitting him. Plus she has extra damage when she hits. And she has 3 attacks versus his 2. But still, that's not fun. So they're still alive is what I'm hearing. Like, they didn't die when she tried to get them trampled. That was like a fake thing. Or just like a temporary thing. Because it says when Ramya dies, she dies and comes back, right? Oops. Did not mean to bookmark that. No. No. Move. There we go. Maybe she's only got the 1 life. Interesting. Riva! Riva remembers a time when she loved Ramya before her sister eclipsed her in their family's esteem. There we go! Petty jealousy. Unable to overtake Ramya in leadership skills, she sought more subtle methods. No. No! Her interest in intrigue and magic intensified when she discovered a hidden library beneath the Cerulean city. Oh, I was right! A repository of insidious magic harkening back to the rule of certain tyrannical Vasavadan ancestors. Ah, the Dark Powers! That's what I was looking for. That's what I was hoping for. Some good old Dark Powers references. Uses what she discovered out there to further Arjani's ambitions and yearns to gain control of the Citadel so she can unearth its deepest, most insidious secrets. After her murder, she was reborn as an Arcanoloth, a state which horrifies her. What's an Arcanoloth? Oh, yes. Yes, the Yugoloth demon. She's a demon with up to 8th level spells. So spellcasting, she's got a counterspell. Yeah, there is no point in using spells most of the time. These two, if they just fought straight up Ramya, they could probably. She's a cunning plotter, strategist, and manipulator. Applies these talents to her magic, entreating friends for aid and using them to hasten the day when no one will underestimate her again. Many of her allies don't trust Riva. Many of Arjani's allies don't trust Riva. I wonder why. Behind her back, they mockingly call her charismatic Arjani's opposite, or Inajira. Ah, yes. That's funny. This is a cute picture, though. I like this. 8 bones. It's interesting, like, her look. I'd forgotten mostly what an Arcanoloth looks like, but it doesn't seem correct entirely. Sly jackal-headed human. Yeah. So they took some liberty here, I think. Is that a jackal? I don't know. You know what? I don't know. The struggle between the heirs to the Sapphire Throne drives the conflict in Kalakeri. Both Ramya's loyalists and Arjani and Riva's rebels are fanatics, eager to report or act against those they consider traitors to the nation's rightful ruler. Or rulers. Why? Must be because of the hate. I was thinking, why is Riva even part of this whole plan? But then I just realized, like, they said she hates her sister, so obviously that's all she cares about. Like, she could just spend all her time. She could have chosen to just spend all her time reading in the back alley of the books, like just constantly reading in a secret chamber. But no, had to get involved in politics. The common folk in areas under a faction's clear control extol their loyalty. Let's see. To report or act against those. Fanatics, eager to report or act against those they consider traitors to the nation's rightful ruler or rulers. Meanwhile, common folk in areas under a faction's clear control extol their loyalty to the local power loudly. In less stable areas, most keep their allegiance secret. While exploring the domain, characters will regularly face questions about their loyalty, and in this conflict, neutrality is tantamount to betraying both sides. Characters' answers eventually earn them the attention of one side or the other, with members of that faction trying to dragoon them into the dragoon? Drag them into the conflict? Yeah, probably drag them in. Okay. Judgment follows everything you do. I'm not gonna... There's a Renown system. Okay, from the Dungeon Master's Guide. Use the DMG's Renown system. Optional rule. Player tracks it separately for each organization in their character. For example, a character might have 5 Renown within one faction, 20 Renown with another. There's examples of faction ranks. Up to 50, it looks like. That's cool. Every time you do something for one faction or the other. Yeah. It's unfortunate that this is a very foolish, this is so silly. People just wanting to power monger against each other for a while. Let's see, then. Intrigue and horror. It looks like you probably can do really well until you hit a certain point, because, like, you might be told, like, ours is the rightful, like, is like a good cause, and you're like, yeah, it's a good cause. And then there's going to be a point where you finally realize that everyone's insane. Because like Ramya, you know, not necessarily like her father said you should be the next ruler, and you know that's fine. But now she's like murdering everybody, and if there's any question of like loyalty or anything like that, she's like they have to die, and it's like that's really bad. The same thing for the other side. It's like it's clear that like certain ways work. Covering renown, losing renown. Yeah, okay, so just different ways to get renown and use it and stuff like that. Oh, here you go. This is how you get faction bonuses. Very cool. Oh, these are generic benefits. These are benefits only. What? Kalakeri military and traditionalists throughout the domain. Back the claim to the Sapphire Throne, tries to eliminate their siblings and rebels, supporting them through dramatic military actions and merciless trials and tests of loyalty. Loyalists covet Jadurai as a center of power and revere the Tower of Traitors, which serves as a command center and a symbol of undying loyalty. Those who gain certain thresholds of renown with the Loyalists can make requests to that faction and Maharani Ramya. These requests and the threshold at which they'll be entertained are detailed in the Loyalist benefits table, along with how the request adjusts the character's renown score with the faction. If applicable, she treats those with a renown score of 25 or higher as trusted advisors and reveals her undead nature to them. Nice! I think some of these, if you can prove you were right afterwards, your negative would, I would say, it would go away and turn into a positive. Maybe for like half the amount of points or something like that. Because there's one that's like, pardon someone accused of being a traitor, -2. If you can prove that they're not a traitor, that should, I don't know. It says anyone accused. So like, if you come up with proof and say, with this proof, I pardon you, taking a -2 doesn't seem like it makes much sense. I would definitely use that for, you know, when you just pardon people out of hand. But then if you're like, if you can prove that you were right, get those points back, or at least get half the points. Get the points back. Get those points back and maybe get like an extra point or two, like either half of the full amount. Rebels! Control of the Sapphire Throne has passed between Ramya and Arjani multiple times. Using their influence among the Branas and merchants, they have repeatedly driven Ramya out of the capital into shocking defeats when in control of the Cerulean city. Arjani will host decadent parties to spread his influence among Kalakeri's elite and those who further his interests. These events serve a secondary role in concealing private feasts featuring obscene delicacies and mortal flesh, allowing Arjani and Riva to satisfy their fiendish hungers. Those who gain certain thresholds of renown can make requests of that faction. These requests and the threshold at which they'll be entertained are detailed in the Rebel Benefits table, along with how the requests adjust the character's renown score with the faction if applicable. Arjani and Riva never reveal their true natures to anyone, because they don't truly care or are nice to people. That would suck, to get high enough, to work with the Loyalists to get high enough in renown that you are shown her undead nature, and then let's say for whatever reason you as the party are like, oh no, this is like against the natural order, we got to bounce, and then you like go over the rebels and you just help the rebels win, and like I don't know, when you're completely useless, they try to eat you or something like that. That would be awful. It's just amazing. Um, and so uh, we leave. What was it called? Kalakeri, and arrive in Kartakass. But it is 11:55, which means we are finished up out of time. Whew. It was a good journey. We went through a couple of nice places. Met with a few more Dreadlords, but now we enter into Kartakass, domain of tarnished dreams. Look at that map. So now that we've arrived here, we're going to take our break here, and next week we will learn about the Dark Lord Harkon Lukas. We will learn about dark fantasy and gothic horror, as well as the hallmarks of hidden identities, dangerous performances, exploitative ambitions, and the werewolves. Missed talismans that you'll be needing for this are handbills advertising remarkable performances, rustic woodcuts of hunting wolves, and wolf's tooth necklaces. Hope everyone out there has a great one. This will be up on YouTube tonight by about 7. We've got a D&D section and a map making section now. I'm thinking of opening up a Van Richten's guide section, so it's only the Van Richten's videos, because the more D&D content I do, the more it'd be nice to have it like actually separated out by what section is what section. Next week is more of a way out with Dr. Flatline, I believe. I'm going to check in with him and talk about that. And then we will be starting to play Control, which is supposed to be pretty fun. Anyway, hope everyone has a great one. I'll see you all Monday. See you later. Bye.